of them. You're wasting all your time and money on models. Paint what you have.
Checking. Say something real quick.
Something real quick.
All right.
See this red spot here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like rock hard. I've got like some zit thing going on there. It like hurts like hell. But it won't pop.
Maybe. Okay, don't stop it. Stop it.
Man,
Stop
wouldn't that be cool
it.
if I could pop it right in the air and it would just
Stop.
boom, all over
like
my camera?
Dr. Pimple Popper or something.
Yeah,
Stop.
that would be awesome.
Oh, God.
Okay. Go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Model Club TV, episode 67. This time we got it right. How are you, Scott Johansson, my lovely co-host?
I'm great.
That didn't sound convincing,
Another
but
day
okay.
in paradise here.
All right.
Johansson Manor. So.
I'm Jason Walker, for people that are having trouble reading that. Or they're listening on audio. Remember, this podcast is available as an audio podcast as well, wherever you get your podcasts. I don't think I say that enough. And please, on YouTube, subscribe to this. Even if you don't like us, please subscribe. We're, I think, last check at 813. We are closing in on that magic number, so please help us out. And again, the Discord link is down below if you want to join us for the hobby hangouts on Saturday nights and other times. Again, we don't have to be there. If you want to just start painting with some people, go right ahead.
Oh, we should probably warn people that it goes off the rails sometimes. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It goes off the rails.
Did I tell my story? Yeah, it went off the rails this weekend.
Oh, yeah, it went way off the rails.
Went way off the rails. We told my... we'll leave that out.
You're
you gotta join
the... Yeah.
And the woodchuck. Was it a woodchuck from Cam?
No.
What was it?
Groundhog.
Groundhog. Same thing, I think, here in the...
Haven't lived till you beat a groundhog with a stick in a church property or something.
Yeah, all right. Okay. We have, as a guest this episode, we have Joe Hudson. And we just finished that interview, and I really, really liked it. It went really well. We're going to have Joe back on another time. It went really... We spent,
another hour.
I know, we stopped recording and kept talking for another almost 40 minutes. So really cool. Hang out for a little. It's coming up here shortly. And there's some great, I think probably our best hobby tip episode, like painting tips that we've done in a while. And check it out. There's some cool stuff. We'll talk more about it afterwards. But Scott, what's new? Anything?
No.
Okay.
No,
We're moving on. It's been fun.
It's been slow.
Right. Can we say it fun? Can we say it's been fun?
It's been interesting.
Been interesting. Let's leave it at that.
It's all good now.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get our giveaways out of the way here. Quick caveat. We have to record a little bit earlier than we normally do because Adepticon is this weekend, and I am going, today is Wednesday, the 22nd, and I'm going to be there tomorrow on the 23rd, and then I'm going to be there again on Saturday and Sunday, so we had to get this recorded today. So to give a couple people a little bit more chance, I'm leaving it open. So the giveaway is going to take place a couple days from right now, but you're going to see it here. Hey, everybody. We're going to go ahead and do the drawing. We recorded a little bit earlier than we normally would, so I gave people a little bit extra time to get in on the action. Thank you to Hobby Mike and NY3D Creations for donating the Willy Wonka and the I Dream of Genie kit. I figured out how to put pictures in the wheel, so that looks a little cooler than normal. I'm going to hit shuffle a couple times on this, and let's see what happens. And spinning. See who wins. Dun, dun, dun. Rod Hickey. Congratulations, sir. Longtime contributor to the gallery. So good job, Rod Hickey. Well, congratulations. Lucky bastard. Next. Get rid of this Wheel of Wonder. And let's see if I can pull up the next one without a problem. All right, pulling up the I Dream of Genie wheel. And let's see how this goes. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. All right, gonna hit shuffle a few times. Spinning. Makes me dizzy. I figured out how to put pictures in this one too. And it like takes colors from the picture. So we have Barry Gordon. Congratulations, Barry Gordon. You get the I Dream of Genie kit. Congratulations to everyone. And again, thank you to NY3D Creations and Hobby Mike. We appreciate it. And I think our audience does too. Stick around. We have the rest of the show. All right. Congratulations to our winner. I don't know who that is as of right now. But winners of the Hobby Mike.
Yep.
New NY 3D Creations. Are you actually going to open the box?
Well, I saw the slideshow.
Oh, jeez, this guy.
John Diaz giveaway, and I haven't opened the box yet, so I cover the address. But all right, John, I'm really sorry, but
you're just putting your address up there.
I don't care.
Yeah, you do. Don't put that there. Don't show it.
Okay, hold on. Do this. All right, how about this? Okay, John, I'm really sorry. I'm gonna flip it real quick. Boom! It's in the mail. It's ready to go. Stamped today. Your Jaeger Army card is in there. I'm sorry.
Scott mails things as well as he casts things. As quickly as he casts things.
But they do get things.
They do get them. It just.
So anyway, I'm opening this box now while you're talking or blathering or whatever.
I'm blathering. Yes.
And because I want to be able to show it for the giveaway. Oh yeah, there it is. Ooh. All right. And hold on. There's another piece in here. Yep. There's another piece.
So wait, is this the NY3D stuff or is this the Diaz stuff?
No, this is John Diaz.
Oh, this is the John Diaz stuff we're giving away this episode. Well, introducing this episode.
Yeah, no, I haven't opened the 3D box either, but it's.
Mike, you see what I deal with?
What do I need to open it for? We showed pictures.
All right, we got pictures, but it's nice to see the thing.
Okay. This is really nice.
So for this episode, we are giving away what, Scott?
So we are giving away
on your end,
on my end, from Resin Realities, Mr. John Diaz was kind enough to send us this. I don't know how well. Oh, it's going to come out there.
That's a nice base.
So this is a nice tree base with some stuff and a nameplate. And I'm going to show the nameplate. Nameplate's really nice, actually, too. For the Wolfman. And so this is the Wolfman base.
Or take the Wolfman nameplate off and
don't use the Wolfman, and you could use it for whatever. Different scales too, I'm sure, but this is actually really nice, nicely cast by John. Although it is a Wolfman base because you do have the bear trap here, see. So okay. But that being said,
it could be a cocaine bear base.
Oh dear God. Anyway, thank you, Resin Realities, John Diaz. We're going to give that away. And what do we have to do to win this?
Well, hold on. We got one more thing to show.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, hold on. Sorry.
From David Horvath, one of our longtime viewers. He printed something.
It's a barbecue, right?
Yeah. He printed something for us to give away. And he sent this in, and I'm being very delicate because these ears would break really quickly. But it's the Darkness. It's Darkness from Legend. And it's a great little bust. It has a base that comes with it. And kind of does. I'll just put Warnhorn in because I'm trying to be, you know me and dropping things. I'm trying to be very careful with this. If I drop this, it's over with.
Look, I'm out of focus. Hold on. We'll get back.
Yeah. I'm trying to be very careful with this. The ears are really fragile, but it's, I would say, like a 1/6 scale is what I'd say for this because Darkness is actually pretty big. Thank you, David Horvath. This is going to go to a lucky winner. So in the comments, what are people going to leave, Scott?
For the Resin Reality bases or base, Wolfman base, let's just say,
how about Resin Realities? So he gets a little plug on the channel.
Resin Reality.
Resin Realities. Yep. For the Wolfman
Resin
base.
Realities and
Darkness.
And Darkness. So yeah.
For the Darkness.
So either Resin Realities or Darkness or both. Again, if you won one of Hobby Mike's kits, try to refrain from entering this one so we can spread the love. Okay, so
or unless you want to give the arms above me speech from Darkness, I'd love to hear that.
God.
Or the is it Blitz? What's the goblin's name from that movie?
I've seen that movie. Really?
You've never seen Legend?
No. Who cares?
Blacker than the foulest witch. Give me that speech. I'd love to hear some of that.
More crap.
Dude, Legend's a great movie. You shut your mouth. You just shut your mouth. Just shut your mouth, dude. All right. So that'll be next episode. We're giving away Resin Realities or Darkness in the comments.
All right.
News and reviews. We are, again, this kind of an abbreviated episode. Some little shorter things here going on.
Okay.
The first thing we want to talk about, our great friend, Rob Madison. Has what, Scott?
My great friend, your acquaintance, but that's okay.
You hear that, Rob?
Set him straight, Rob. Just set him straight.
Did Scott Johansson buy one of your? Did Scott Johansson buy one of your H.P. Lovecraft calendars? Did he buy one of those? I don't think so. I did.
Has Jason Walker been as good to you as Scott Johansson has been over the years?
How many?
Ooh, look, my eyes going goony. You're getting me so upset. My eyes going goony.
How many game archaeology videos has Scott pressed the thumbs up button on?
A few. Yeah, a few.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, what's Rob got?
Rob has Monster Model Review and talked about our friend Tony Cipriano's 4 sculpting classes, 3 digital, 1 traditionally clay. And
so we're hitting 2 friends of the show with one Rob.
Right. So we have, well, I wouldn't call Tony a friend. But it's but anyway, I love Tony. He knows I love him. So Rob did a little video and showed some snippets of Tony's videos, which are available. And I don't
CreatureArtTeacher.com, right?
Yeah, CreatureArtTeacher.com. Aaron
Link
Blaze,
down below. Yep.
I believe is a friend of Tony's. If you go to buy the newest one, it's going to say pre-order. When you order it, I think the first 24 chapters are available, and they're still editing the last 4.
24 chapters, okay.
But yeah, 24.
That's a lot of videos.
Chapters of Tony talking about ZBrush.
Good God!
And you know what? I want Tony to do a 3D printing one. Okay,
that
I'd love to hear 24 episodes. And as a matter of fact, we have heard 24 episodes of Tony.
You know what it would remind you ever? I'm not even joking. I was laying in bed last night and I was flipping through stupid videos. And I don't know if you've ever seen this guy, but he reminds me of myself in holding things. And he reminds me of Tony 3D printing. And it's the Indian guy. I think he's Indian or Pakistani, but he plays with electricity. And he's always blowing things up in his hands and swearing. I'll find a link and I'll put it in the guy cracks me up. It just, anyway. But Rob's got a new video up on his Monster Model Review page of Tony's classes. So if you're interested in Tony's classes, follow the link below. Please support Monster Model Review and his other page, Game Archaeology, which is awesome, which I love watching. They're short, they're quick, they explain video games, board games from everywhere, all ages, new stuff, old stuff, and it just kind of walks you through each game. So it's they do it with his son Hunter, and they do some pretty cool stuff. So check them out and both
check out Creature Art Teacher, man. He's got a lot of cool stuff there.
Yeah.
Not just Tony stuff, but a lot of other stuff as well. But I've only got through Tony's first video with the polar bears, and I enjoyed them. It's. Mm-hmm. I still haven't bought ZBrush, but I still want to. But I keep.
Well, now you can't. Tony. Now you have to license it.
Well, whatever.
Permanently a year. That's another story, Matt. Yeah.
So, but anyway, check all that stuff out. Good stuff.
First kit we have is from Garage Kids US and Jesse Garcia. Sculpted by who? Scott Johansson?
No, not Scott Johansson. Jim Maddox.
I said by. Ooh,
wait,
Scott Johansson.
Jim Maddox.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna say Jim Maddox, and if Jesse kills me if I'm wrong.
Oh, now you know how it feels.
I think it's Jim Maddox. Jim Maddox. That's my final answer. I'm not even gonna phone a friend. That's my final answer, Jim Maddox.
So what do we have?
So this is the bust.
We know it's a bust of what?
Of Millicent Patrick, who designed the creature from the Black Lagoon, but also other recognizable characters with which Jesse has incorporated in the base here. And I believe these are also going to be available as separate busts.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
and
It's quarter scale. It's pretty
it's
big.
quarter scale. There's a little story there, but
Save that for another day.
there's a quarter scale, and I have to say, and I like them all. They're all beautiful, but that Mr. Hyde bust isn't
it good?
Nice. That's dead on.
Yeah.
That's from Abbott and Costello meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And that was Karloff, I believe, is Mr. Hyde, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm going through the slideshow here, and I'm going to talk about it because you don't have it. We'll have to edit it in. But the full figure kit is also done.
I couldn't find the picture.
And it's being printed, and he's doing a quarter scale. And I talked to Jesse the other day, and he was like, "Oh boy, this is a big piece." Okay, so
yeah, I didn't see a picture of that yet. So
yeah,
if you have
it's
we'll put it in.
Big, and okay. I think we have them. We'll put them in here. So there's no prices on it. Don't everybody run to the phones and call Jesse or
don't attempt to pre-order.
There's no list. Okay, it's just this is the stage it's in. It's printed by Ed Bradley, I believe. I hope that's okay to say, but Ed printed it for him and did a great job. So yeah, it's really nice. It's really
I think as a painter looking at this, I think the most interesting thing about it that I can't wait to see what people do. You want to take a guess what I'm thinking of?
Do tell.
No, I want you to guess. All right, don't worry about it. The drawing pad.
Oh, what they put on
What are you going to put on the drawing pad? Like, you can't leave it blank. You can't. So you're going to have to do something with that. So are people going to put decals on there somehow? Are they going to try and attempt to paint a painting on there?
I will say this. And we'll insert the pictures here maybe too. Well, as everyone knows, and it's no secret, there's another Millicent bust out there, and there's also another Millicent full figure bust very similar to this, Jesse's full figure kit. And Phil Lister just did a paint job on it, and I thought it was amazing. I thought Phil really.
I'll grab it. I'll put it up here.
And yeah, that was some really nice. We'll give Phil a plug too. I know Phil's for hire, but really nice paint up of that kit. And I know he customized it a little bit, but yeah, really nice job. So,
all right. Also from Garage Kits US, I love this.
I thought we covered this one already.
We did, but I think it's like, I don't think I saw the parts breakdown before.
Oh, it's a lot of parts.
Yeah. So like, this is the Tin Man from the Denizens of Zoe that I think will probably.
Jesse will have this at Wonderfest.
That's what I was wondering. I was going to ask you.
It's a joke. He's not going to have it at Wonderfest. He's not going to Wonderfest.
Really?
No,
it's still coming. Okay.
It's
so
coming.
What's the news on this? You got
because
the
of the part breakdown and everything. It's just there, and because of everything else he's got going. I don't believe this is going to see Wonderfest. If that changes, we'll let you know.
Yeah,
but
I love this.
But I mean, and when you blow up some of them small parts,
dude, it's
there's a lot going on here. But it's done. See, if you'd have read the post, you'd have saw that.
I was just grabbing pictures today. I'm not reading. I don't read. You should know that by now.
That's for sure. But anyway, it's done. It's really nice.
I'm drooling over this. This fits in like. It doesn't even have to be the tin, other than the funnel on his head. It could be anything. Like I love it. Okay. Chuckamoka sent this in, and it's from Monsters in Motion has put it out. I'm just going to read what the little blurb that came with it. I like when Chuck sends us little things that I normally wouldn't see. 1/6 scale resin model kit called It's Alive. With those words, Dr. Frankenstein created one of the most renowned monsters in all of cinema. Now you can create your own monster with the highly detailed Frankenstein the Operation kit. This piece measures 12 inches long, 1/6 scale, and features a detailed design and sculpted creature likeness by Pat Delaney and Tom Gilliand. Every wood grain and scar is reproduced perfectly. You'll have a blast painting this one. Kit includes table and lab instruments, perfect for dioramas, material, and resin. The material's resin. Duh. Cool little piece. Like if you,
that. This is actually a reissue of an old kit.
yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, but it's nice to see it out again. A lot of people have looked for this kit over the years.
And this again, if you're doing a doctor in a lab scene, this is great. Throw it in there.
Mm-hmm.
Cool stuff.
Put it with the StannArts lab equipment.
Ooh,
even,
ooh.
you know.
Say that again. Give them another plug. What would go great with that kit?
The StannArts lab equipment.
There we go. And I'll put a link to that up there as well. So that's all we have for news and reviews today.
Yeah, I finally heard from my friend Well.
Oh, you did? Okay.
And yeah, his battery went out on his phone, so he's just now back up and running. So but he's got some goodies coming, and we'll show those on the next episode for sure. So.
Excellent. Okay. So Workbench, Scott. Do we even tackle this? The Workbench for me has been printing. That's it. I'm helping Mark out with some stuff. I know you've been doing a lot for people too.
Yeah, I just started printing some fossil hands for Mark for Wonderfest. Another special thing that we don't know if he's going to do or what he's going to do, or if he's going to cast it in resin because it's pretty big. So that's all I can really say. But otherwise, I've been printing. A little printing mishap that I showed you guys the other day, so I got to reprint that thing. But and I'm working on something that could be really special, but until it happens for sure and the details are wound up, are wrapped up, and it's in my hands.
Is this as
or
special?
On my hard drive?
Is this as special as a big Galuna?
Yes, actually, I think it is. Okay.
Where is the big Galuna these days?
Up in the closet. It's a long story. It's not coming. It's just it's. I think what's going to have to happen is when I finish this job that I'm still working at, and I need income, that's probably going to force me to either learn how to make shell molds and do one, and just mold it myself or something.
I know how to make shell molds.
Do you?
Uh-huh.
Huh. We'll talk. This ought to be good. Okay. So
I learned it in college.
Huh. You never told me that.
You never asked.
100 times I've said I've never made a shell mold, and you've never said anything. So, and
you probably won't like my version anyway. So it's probably
I'm sure it's a nightmare.
Oh, really?
I notice over your bald head, your Vampirella model.
Yeah.
And I just want to also give a plug out to Amazing Fantasy Books and Comics in Frankfort, Illinois. They just posted a picture. They're actually selling that there.
So do they do mail order?
I don't know that they do or not. I mean, for like one model kit, they don't. I know years ago they had.
Could you imagine? All right. So we both know this comic shop really well.
Yeah.
Again, could you imagine Lori handling mail orders on top of everything else?
No, I cannot.
No, me either.
No, I'm just gonna go. No,
Matt, I could see. Matt,
but anyway, in the Chicago area, it's a great comic shop. They sell gaming stuff there as well, comics.
They have paints. They have brushes. They
Funko
have
Pops,
Funko Pops, toys. A lot of model kits actually.
Yeah,
they do have a lot. They have a lot of They have Gundams, some of the Ultraman stuff, a lot of Godzilla stuff. It is a great and they have more than one location. Where are the other ones, Scott?
So they have a location in Tinley Park, Illinois. They have a location in Lockport and Frankfort, Illinois.
Yeah. So if you're in this area, if you're in the Chicago area, AF. It's
Amazing Fantasy Books and Comics.
I say AF?
But they went to AF because years ago when they were Amazing Fantasy, people were wondering if it was an adult bookstore. So it's
really,
they went to AF Books and Comics. But but they do cards too, right? Games.
They do ton. They have like open. Yeah, they have a lot of cool stuff going on.
I've been to the other two stores, and I will say that. And again, I'll give them a quick plug, or I'll give her a quick plug. I don't know why, but our friend Lori,
because she's a good person,
who I've known for at least 30 years, I think. Okay. She's the manager there, and it's a neat comic shop. You don't walk in there, it don't smell musty and dusty. It's well kept, and the personality of a few of the workers is questionable. But I love Mike and Matt anyway. But
I don't think any of them watch this show, so
that's all right. We're gonna tell them to now. But
yeah, we plugged the shit out of that comic store.
Yes, we do. Damn it. So, but yeah, in Chicago area, you like a comic
Check
store,
them out.
They're good.
I have one thing to add. I did paint something, touch something up. The reason I'm going to Adepticon is because the Golden Demon Awards are happening there. And for those of you who don't know what that is, I'll put a link here. It is the Games Workshop, like Oscars, basically. And they do one in England, they do one here, and they do one in a couple other places. I've never entered. For all the years that I've been doing this, I know I'm not even going to come close to winning anything. I just want my entry form that says I entered the Golden Demon Awards, and that's what I'm going to be happy with. So I was touching
stage. I'm going to do a Will Smith and slap you and see if I can't get banned.
I touched up a Blood Bowl troll that I've been working on for a while, that I did a lot of customizing on, and I'm going to be entering that in the contest. I'll let everybody know. I'm going to take tons of video of Adepticon and pictures and stuff over these 3 days of a painting class that I'm taking.
Blood Bowl troll. Say that 10 times fast.
Blood Bowl troll. He had a goblin in his hand that he was throwing, because in Blood Bowl, it's football, if you don't know. So you can pick up a character, and if they're strong enough, they can throw that character with the ball, and then they can keep running. So I took the goblin out of his hand. I carved out this little tiny hand and put a piece of poop in his hand. So it looks like he's throwing a giant piece of poop, because that's what a troll would do. And I'm calling it Dirty Tricks, and that's where I'm going to go with it. So I'll put a picture here. I got to find a picture of it, though.
All right.
Take one.
There we go.
All right.
Let's talk about
We're moving. So we have emails. Our guest this episode is Joe Hudson, and I'll let Scott introduce this one, because I
can't wait. So
yeah, go ahead.
Joe Hudson was recommended to us by Paul Gill,
and I had been seeing his work.
So
I don't know.
Yes, and I have too. And so Jason reached out to Joe for a change. I didn't have to do it, and Joe was gracious enough to come on. Super guy, like we said earlier. Guess he's been painting since August. He's still practicing. As you'll see,
painting Garage Kids since August.
Painting Garage Kids since August. But what a great guy! Just what a super nice guy. A lot of good stories on and off the camera. A lot of great tips. And let's get on with it. Here's Joe Hudson.
Enjoy. Cool. All right, everybody, we are back, and we have our amazing guest. I'm so excited for this. Joe Hudson. Joe, welcome to the show, sir.
Nice to meet you, Jason and Scott. Thanks for asking me.
Nice to meet you too. We've had a great conversation right before recording, and I'm like,
oh yeah, real uplifting.
It was uplifting, but it like one of the last things he said, which we'll keep private. I really like. So, how are you, sir? How are you? What part of the country are you in? What's going on?
I live in St. Charles, Missouri. I'm originally from South Carolina, though.
Okay. How'd you get started in this wonderful hobby of just painting, hobby in general? And then we'll get more into Garage Kids and that sort of thing.
Well, as like most everybody, I started young, building the Aurora, glow-in-the-dark kits. And then after a while, how sports and girls got in the way. So
it's so fun. Everyone always says sports and girls.
Girls, everything.
Most people say girls.
Well, I played a lot of sports, and so after
what
that,
did you play? What did you play?
I played football and baseball. I played middle linebacker, and I was a center fielder in baseball and catcher.
Scott, did you play football?
Not professionally. No,
in high school.
No,
of course.
No, I was actually. I know this is going to be hard for our viewers to believe.
That's for sure when they see this.
But in high school, I was 135 pounds. Okay, I kid you not. So I would have probably gotten killed out there. I am, however, in the Sandlot Football Hall of Fame because Played plenty of Sundays, just no equipment tackle. Wonder you're still alive. Still have crooked fingers because of it, and other miscellaneous injuries. But
People may find this hard to believe. I played football 1 year, freshman. Started on the A team. Guess my position.
Tight end.
No.
I was going to say that too.
I am a tight
I know
end.
better.
No, I played offensive line. I was left tackle. That's where they put all the fat white kids. That's where we went on the offensive line. All the fast guys hit me in the back. But
yeah.
So anyway, back to normality.
All right. So then I ended up, when Top Gun came out, I was a police officer at the time. When Top Gun came out, the models came out, and I decided to start building models of the Tomcats, and I believe it was testers. So I started building those, and then, like I had told you earlier, there was a hobby shop in Columbia, South Carolina I went to, and they had Military Modeler and the Berlinden books on how to build dioramas. And so that kind of piqued my interest, because I always liked the figures. I built tanks and that kind of stuff, but I always was more drawn to the figures that were in it. So
going into hobbies, did you ever do like D&D figures or fantasy stuff, or just?
I didn't even know anything about it. When I grew up, I lived in a little country. I mean, we lived 7 miles from the nearest town that had a caution light, so I was way out in the sticks. So, I mean, there was no cable TV. There was, back then, if you wanted to change the channel, my dad would send me out to the big pole outside in the yard to turn. I mean, so it was just country living.
So, you wrote a book, and we're going to kind of jump around between a bunch of things here. But I want to start here. You wrote a book called Modeling Military Figures. How did that come to be? How did you get hooked up with Fine Scale Modeler? Just tell us that story, and then we'll because it's obvious from that point, when you found those figures, you got to the point where you could write a book. So kind of fill us in on that gap, and then how did it happen?
Well, after I moved down to Florida and I went to work for the Space Center, that was kind of like when Verlinden was popular, coming over with the 120 millimeter resin figures.
Can I pause you for 1 second? I always do this, and
Oh, no, that's fine.
I always interrupt. What's the coolest thing you saw at the Space Center?
It depends on what you think's cool.
I mean, for you personally, what's the cool? When you were like, "Holy cow, that's awesome."
Probably the coolest thing to see was, or not actually see, but when the space shuttle comes back into the atmosphere, there's a sonic boom. But then nobody tells you, when you're a new guy, there's a second sonic boom, and it scares the bejesus out of you, But I mean, because I was security, we got to guard the astronauts. We guard astronauts' house, and I was working in it was called the Triple C, which was the communication system.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill Crippen came in one day, and Bill Crippen was the first. His name was Robert Crippen, but goes by Bill. Was the first shuttle pilot, and he was the director of NASA. And so he came in with all these colonels and all this stuff, and here I am, just some guy, that works there.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, Mr. Crippen, can I get your autograph?" And he's like, looked at me, he goes, "You got something to write on?" I'm like, "No, sir." He says, "Here, hold on." So he pulls out his business card. It says Robert Crippen, NASA, Director of Kennedy Space Center, phone numbers, blah, blah, blah. And he signs across the top. He says, "Bill Crippen." He goes, "Here, this and 50 cents to get you a cup of coffee," So it was pretty cool. So then after that, all the other bigwigs, they were like, "Hey, Mr. Crippen, can I get you?" So he was signing off.
Do you still have it?
Yeah, I still got it. And I have every launch that I work, you got a certain pin. So, I mean, I worked there when we first sent the satellite to, it was the satellite for HBO for all England. I was there with the first Navstar satellites, the Star Wars satellites, So, I mean, I have a pin holder that has all the pins that I work, So all of those were pretty cool. And, just to be, when I first started, we were real close to when a rocket went up. But after the years, they slowly started moving us back. I mean, we were right up there. You could feel it,
Yeah.
But I mean,
Oh,
it was
man.
just cool to you're working there. I mean, there was an old man I used to work with, and he used to tell me stories about Walter Cronkite being so drunk and passed out that they would have to carry him, back to his place and all. So I mean, there was a lot of stuff that you don't see on TV.
That's cool. All right.
Yeah.
See, that's what I like doing. I like the side stories.
So
All right, continue. Oh, go ahead.
no,
Scott.
no, I'm not done now.
All
now,
right.
as long as we're here, okay. What's your feelings there, Joe, on UFOs?
Oh, okay. All right.
Do we got
I see what you're
aliens?
doing.
Because Jason and I go back and forth on this.
I think there's got to be something. I put it this way: I don't. From everything that I ever saw, that they didn't fake the moon landing and all that kind of stuff, because some of those people are so smart that they're dumb. If I'm putting it politely.
I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly.
I mean, when I worked security there, for example, these were some of the brightest people. They were in the vertical assembly building. They would go in, but when you came up to the gate, you had to slide your card in, and then it would open the gate, and you would step on a square box, and it would weigh you. Then you had to lean down. It would take a picture of your retina, and then you had to type in your PIN number. Then you came out, and then you would meet me or a guard or whatever. These guys were so smart, they'd be locked in the gate or in the box because they couldn't figure it out. So, I mean, when I was little, I used to always say, I'd love to fly in a rocket and go up to space. When I went to work there, they would never get me in one of those things. But being out there, I've seen a lot of stuff go into space. So, I got to believe there's something,
So, how'd you get hooked up with Fine Scale Modeler in the book? How did it come about?
Well, as I told you earlier, I had gotten a real bad motorcycle accident. And so I was doing a mail order through Berlinden. Well, actually, it was called BLS. And when I got hurt, a gentleman down there asked me if I would build him a diorama. And I was like, sure, but I don't have the money to make the payments because at the time I was out of work for 9 months with my injury. And he was like, I'll pay for it, and let's see if they'll let you have your discount. So Susan Letterman, she was like, sure, we'll take care of you, no problem. So I ended up doing that. And so I started building a lot of figures. And then when I couldn't do my job anymore, I ended up moving back to South Carolina. Then I took a job in Illinois, and then, like I said, back and forth. So I had been going to a lot of miniature shows, with the historical miniatures.
Uh-huh.
And I'd been competing and going to shows for 25 years. And that's when I met Francois Verlinden at the hobby shop. And he was looking at my stuff, and he wanted to know who stuff it was. And I just happened to be in there. And the guy who runs the hobby shop, Kevin, he said, hey, it's that guy over there. So he came up and said, is that your stuff? I'm like, yes, sir. He goes, I'm looking for an in-house sculptor and painter. You interested? I'm like, sure. So I worked for him for a little bit, and then I kind of got burnt out because then it became a job. So I didn't want to build anything. And then the Mobius Batmans came out.
Uh-huh.
And my sons were like, Daddy, build us a Batman. So just so happened when I started building it, Aaron Skinner from Fine Scale Modeler reached out to me, says, hey, Joe, we're thinking about starting a line or a column, a monthly column in Fine Scale it's called Figure Forum, and we would love to have you do a column every month on how to do figures. And I'm like, sure. So every month I was building something and taking pictures and writing articles, and it got pretty popular. And that's when they were like, we would really like to see if you'd be interested in doing a book. But in the meantime, they had done a couple of books and asked me to write like a section, like a chapter for their different. One was on space, and the other one was on the Pacific War. And so then they were like, would you be interested in writing a book? And I'm like, sure. And so I'm thinking in my head, man, I'm going to do all this really cool stuff now. But no, they wanted it on World War II, And I had done some World War II, not a whole lot, but I had painted enough to be familiar with it. But I was more excited. I thought I was going to be able to do like a Highlander or something else,
Yeah.
But anyway, so it was a book, and it was going to be a lot bigger than in my mind, I had this big thick book, and they were like, we only can do 96 pages. I'm like, oh, okay. So I, I ended up, I sent them 500 pictures and 27,000 words, but I had like 2,000 pictures I didn't send them. And just like in that video I told you I'd watched of your earlier ones with David
Yeah.
and Ted, he would like, oh, that's picture, yeah, he was like, that's basically how mine was, going to be. So it ended up doing that, and it came out early. It came out in the month of February. It was not supposed to be released until March, and already it sold 500 copies. It was number one on Amazon new release, which was pretty cool.
We're gonna put a link to it here down below too. So if anyone's interested in getting the book, follow the link. You'll get over there. I want to go back to the column for Fine Scale Modeler though for a second. So I wrote for AFM. It's probably, I don't know, almost over 15 years now, and it's a handful of articles. Like they're quarterly, so it was only four times a year, and I was only maybe doing 1 or 2 issues during that time.
It's not 4 times a month.
Quarterly is 4 times. We're not having this fight right now.
Whatever. Go ahead. Sorry.
We're not having this fight right now. I could not imagine doing that monthly. How did you how? How did you did they tell you a topic to do, or was it something that you were choosing?
Well, originally they said, would you do this? And they would send me stuff. And then it got to the point where it's like, I wanted to paint other stuff. Like I wanted to show a Napoleonic how to paint white, or, I didn't want to just paint Germans or Americans or that kind of stuff. So I started painting like I did a Hulk. I started trying to bring some fantasy stuff, and because I wanted to start learning how to paint brighter colors instead of just all the drabs. And so they started me choose what I wanted.
That's what I wanted to ask. Was there resistance on the part of Fine Scale Modeler, knowing that they've never really been about fantasy or horror or sci-fi? It was always maybe sci-fi as far as ships, but not figures. Figures was almost always kind of military. Were they like, no, we gotta
Well, at first they were, and then they kind of let me kind of get moving what I wanted, but then it was like you could see they reeled it back in, like, whoa, let's, because they wanted to kind of keep it more toward, I guess, where you could buy a Tamiya figure, or
right.
I might be doing a Civil War guy, or I might be doing a knight or something. I did like a fantasy girl. She was a battle chick,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next article might have been a Tuskegee Airman or something like, So
I think you sent us those pictures of that Tuskegee guy, right? Yep. So I'll put that up here.
But yeah, they kind of, and then they kind of started weeding me off so I could work on my book. And then unfortunately, I just talked to them that they basically said the interest is, so they don't even really have it anymore. But if I wanted to send an article, I could send it. It's kind of, I think they had to downsize because I want to say that the car magazine went out, so they're trying to combine a bunch of stuff in it. So there's not a whole lot of figure stuff anymore.
That is an industry-wide problem, I'm guessing, since AFM had to go digital. I'm sure all magazines are hurting at this point, and
right.
That's kind of tough to hear. I want to start. You sent us a bunch of pictures, so we're going to kind of throw them up on the screen, like when people see this,
right.
We won't see it. The first one I want to talk about that you sent is that you sent an armature. It's like a sculpting job more than a painting job.
Right.
Walk us through this. Who is this? What's this character? How'd you start? What was it for? And then people will be surprised when they see the final picture of how tiny this actually is.
Okay, that's my blockade runner.
Say that one more time.
He's a Civil War blockade runner.
Okay, so talk about that for a little bit.
Well, like I told you, during the years I'd been painting so many historical. I did a lot of box art for stuff, but I had a bunch of reference books, and there was a painting in there of a blockade runner from the Civil War, and I just liked his clothing. It wasn't with a gun. It didn't necessarily. He's got a gun, but it wasn't one that he was shooting or all that kind of stuff. But I just liked because he had a suit, almost like. And so I had been piddling with trying to learn how to sculpt, and so I took the armature, and I had a resin couple of resin blank armature bodies, torso, and then I took a stock head and I carved it up and then resculpted the beard and and tried to just make him like he'd be look cool guy on a deck of a ship.
Looks awesome. What do you use to sculpt with? What was your putty medium?
I use Abe's epoxy sculpt.
So you're an epoxy? Okay.
Yeah, I tried the magic sculpt, but it's too translucent and I couldn't see it.
Gotcha.
So I mean, I've done a bunch of other sculpts. At one time I was on a kick. I was sculpting all these golfers, famous golfers, and so I was mixing putty with like an orange Sculpey, so I could have more time and I'd cook it in a crock pot, and then I would, add a little bit of putty on it, and then I could keep moving that way. But Aves was my favorite because it's kind of a grayish color, and I can at least see because I'm more of a carver too. I'll put a little bit of putty on, and then I'll carve the little things in sand, and then.
If I'm not mistaken, you can get Aves in colors now too, can't you?
Yeah, now you can. Yeah. Yeah. And the problem is I've got so many things I want to sculpt, but I've gotten the bug of painting these larger garage kind of scale things. And as you know, I'm getting older, so I've got enough stuff that if I painted something every day, I would never finish. I've got a little figure that it's like 5 years old. Every time I get a little bit extra putty, I sculpt, and he's pretty cool. He's going to be like a guy from the Depression. He's got a little hat kind of kicked on. He's got suspenders with his hands in his pocket, leaning up against a building. He's going to have a cigarette just dangling out his mouth.
Do you like painting small things?
I do. I mean, because when you paint small, you can do the highlights and you can really exaggerate, to make the eye pop. With the larger scale, you kind of, to me, that I've found is you have to let the light do a lot. You can still put it, but if you go too much, it doesn't look right.
Right. Because most of our guys watching this will be coming from the opposite side of it. Like, I could never paint anything small, is what they'll say, or they'll be like, "How could you even paint something like that?" And I think you touched on it. It's two completely different processes when it comes down to it. Because this guy you sculpted is the size of a quarter. And it's like, for people, just the sculpting of that blows me away. Be able to sculpt that small.
And to me, he's a big guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Having gotten into some of the bigger stuff now and different sort of outside of military stuff, do you find yourself leaning more towards the non-military, or do you always want to go back to military stuff, or are you just kind of done with it?
Nah, I still like the smaller stuff, and I've got a couple ideas for like a little vignette that I'd like to do, because I do like the tightness of painting. I feel like I've got more control painting when it's tight. Where the largest scale stuff, I'm having to learn. I'm trying to teach myself how to use the airbrush.
Okay.
So everything post, the thing we were talking about earlier, my heart, is all airbrush now, and I'm learning how to use it. I had never used my airbrush for anything until I started painting, in August. That's the first time I, started using the airbrush.
So less than a year ago, you've been.
August, I hate you,
Scott. Yeah, Scott. How's it feel, Scott, who doesn't paint jack shit ever?
So I'm looking right now, and Joe doesn't have the ability that we do. I'm looking at this.
Well, he has. I think he has them all somewhere. But
okay, put together. So I'm looking at this Michael Keaton.
That was all hand brush.
Batman kit, and what's standing out on this kit to me is the highlights on the black, because it's so hard. So if you had a tip for highlighting black, what would it be, especially at that scale? Okay.
My tip is don't paint it black.
Okay.
I mean, that's from my thing is, and I've tried to bring from my little scale up. It's not painted black. It's actually, it's black mixed with blue. I mean, it's black mixed with a little bit of purple.
Okay.
To give you my base coat, and then I gradually added a little bit of gray into the mixture to give the highlights, and then the actual his outfit uniform. That was when I first tried to use the airbrush, but I didn't have. I was just using a standard. It's not one of those that goes down. I had a Tamiya portable air compressor, so I didn't even know anything about adjusting the the air or anything. So it was one of those. But the shadows and all are magenta. I use magenta for the shadows, and I lightened it up because it's a purplish black mix. I added a little bit of deck tan, which is a Vallejo color, to give me the gray color, and then I just mix like I did with tanks, like a cloud pattern, and then along the edges is where I just touched it with the brighter gray to make it look like it was torn.
And then, I can also ask this, especially the cowl, the hat, the whatever, the mask. It's such a beautiful flat finish. What do you use for your flats? Because we've had a lot of conversation here about flats and how do you get things really flat. That looks like a nice flat finish. So what do you use there?
Nothing.
Nothing. So that's just the paint. That's just the paint.
I used Andrea miniatures black paint set.
Okay.
And it's a paint set that you can buy that has it will have from a base all the way up to, and I mean inside there, if you looked at it, most of them are like purple colors, but they have a really nice flat black. And so when I mixed in the colors into that flat black, it made it really flat. Nowadays the stuff I use this Krylon matte finish on everything new, like the Lone Ranger and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm using Krylon matte finish 1311. And that seems to work pretty good. But sometimes if you don't shake it up well enough, it will give a glossy. The other thing, I did forget, the other thing I used for like all my miniatures that when I did spray stuff is matte medium from Vallejo. It's matte medium 529. And you just put a couple of drops with water and you could just spray all over your stuff. And it's really flat. It mats everything out.
This says 5. I don't know the numbers. I just buy stuff. Pause for 1 second. Scott, you're out of focus.
I don't want to be.
Well, good. It actually, maybe it's like the Vaseline on the lens makes you look younger. All right, I think that's...
Joe, I hate him. Just so you know, I hate him.
That brings up an interesting point. Do you have a go-to paint brand? Are you a little bit of everything everywhere, or are you kind of this is my paint brand? I'm a Vallejo guy, or I'm a.
Are we recording?
Yeah. We don't have to. We can edit it out. Are you sponsored by someone that you need to say?
Yeah. Well, Monument Hobbies has sent me all their paints, and and I started using them, and I really like them. The Pro Acro.
Bum, bum, bum. Pro Acro. Yep.
But I mainly airbrush those, which I find the airbrush really good.
I love these paints. I love Pro Acryl. I love them. They're great. But you go ahead and talk them up too, because I already I want someone else to say it other than me. So go.
Oh well, I mean, if you see the Spock bust that I did, it was all airbrushed using just their paints, and I don't know if I sent a picture, but it's on my.
I got it.
It's got like the numbers, like a 322. That's how many drops I use for each mixture.
Okay.
To get it, but. I love AK Interactive's their third generation colors.
Okay.
And I know a lot of my friends, I got friend Mike, he loves the Citadel paints, and I've really never really used Citadel paints, but in my book I did slowly add Citadel into my flesh mixture. And so I would use.
That brings us to a good spot too. I'm going to put this Spock up here. So if you're using. And I don't want you to give away secrets if you don't, because there's some guys that are very protective.
I'll tell
their stuff.
I'll tell anything you want.
All right, here we go then. What is for this Spock? What's your flesh recipe? What is your go-to skin recipe as a base and where you're starting out? Because I really love the subtlety of this, where you have your red tones and where you have your shading and your 5 o'clock shadow colors, and kind of how do you achieve some of this stuff to kind of help some people out. And then I want to talk about eyes specifically because there's some listeners, viewers that have that question. So go at it.
What I've started doing since I started trying to paint realistically, before I tell you, I was always painting because of my miniature background. I always painted dark to light. You know, it was always I painted dark color and I could gradually build it up because I would start with a medium color, that your medium shadow, that would be my base color. Then I could go up and down for highlights and shadows. Well, when there's a friend of mine, his name is Jacob. I'm a butcher last name, Raymer, R-A. But anyway, he's like one of the top 1/6 scale painters in the world. I mean, this guy is phenomenal.
Okay.
And just so happened, we met on Facebook and started chit-chatting, blah, blah, blah. And he lives 20 minutes from me. So, yeah, so.
That's like Scott. He lives 20 minutes from me too, but I never go see him.
Well, anyway, Jacob let me come over, and for 2 hours he sat, and I took notes, and he painted a head, and I'll send it to you so you can see it. It'll blow you away. And he did this in 2 hours, and I was just so blown away. But I was taking notes and looking at pictures as much as I could. Well, what he does and what he taught me, I'm still not able to figure out how he did it because I was so overwhelmed. But him and I are supposed to get together again, and then now I'll be able to ask him questions. But what I do now, though, is I use the Pro Acro tan flesh. That's my base. I spray the whole thing with that tan flesh. And then I started using everything else because you're going layers, you're going light to dark. That's it. That's what all my figures, all the flesh is at.
Okay.
And then I use let me look right here because I got everything beside me. Then I use ComArt Bright Red. It's a airbrush paint.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Can I show you here this way?
Oh, yeah, go ahead,
you got it.
Yeah, I got it too.
So it's ComArt.
Yep.
So what I do then is I take my airbrush and I turn the pressure down. Well, first I put 3 to 4 drops of reducer and then 1 or 2 drops of this, and I stir it up. And then I drop my airbrush pressure down to like 10 to 8, and then 4 to 6 inches or 4 to 8 inches. And then I just do the little freckling all over.
For people that don't know how to freckle, can you explain that real quick? Because people may have never heard that term.
Well, there's 2 ways, and I almost went the other way, but I said I'm going to learn how to do it on the airbrush. You can dip a paintbrush into like real thin paint and kind of
flick it.
Yep. Yeah, like I don't know the word.
Or a toothbrush. Sometimes people use.
Yeah, toothbrush. That's what I meant. Yeah. That's what I meant. Sorry. And it will do little dots, and it will go all over.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take the airbrush and just push down, if you have a dual axe, you push down and pull back. And I have the back of my Sotar. I don't know what the lock. I think it's called a lock. And so I pull it back and I push down and pull it back, and it kind of splatters. So basically, the freckling is spattering.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta make sure your paint's thin enough so you're not getting these big droplets, you know. And I have to tell you, I have a problem because I can't see really well. So I've got an optivisor, so I'm up closer, but I'm kind of doing this way so I can try to make it hit the right spot. But anyway, after you do the freckles, I'll turn it up to about 15 or 20, and then just come back real thin and hit the nose, under the eyes, the sides of the nose, in the ears, the chin, the lips, and under the Adam's apple. And that's step 1.
And that's a step that I think, having judged Wonderfest and doing this for a long time, I noticed that a lot of people miss that step, and they don't add any red to spots on someone's face that have more of that, like the blood, the capillaries, and you see some of the red or the ruddy through there, like especially on the end of your nose, and like you said, your Adam's apple, cheeks, ears, sometimes those parts that get flushed. And that's a great way to start with those 2 colors. I think you're saying.
And see, there's advanced ways too. Then you can take your brush and put like blots and then all that kind of stuff. You know, I haven't figured that part out yet. I'm still practicing. But when you finish that, then you seal it with that spray. You know,
I'm still practicing.
the matte
I started
You're,
in
you're killing
August.
Scott. You're killing
I started in
Scott.
August.
He's looking
I'm
at
still
this
practicing,
spot.
and I'm
He's
looking at this thing going, really?
You're killing him. That's awesome.
I'm like, really?
I'm still practicing.
How's
That's
that
great.
practice working?
All right,
Um,
continue. Sorry.
I want to interject here real quick. First time I saw that technique actually on a video, I think it's Kat who paints for Sideshow. And she was doing I think it was a Harley Quinn, and I think it's still on YouTube. It's Sideshow.
Yeah, I've watched that. I watched it the other night.
And
I watch those all the time. Yeah.
And they had a good camera angle of her doing that.
I'll find that link too, and I'll put it.
And it was just amazing to see. It's an amazing, because you look at it and you go, "What are you doing?" And then, but when you get done, you don't see it. Okay, but when you see it, you're like, "What are you doing?" You know, and it's scary. So,
I know, because somebody had just asked me. I get asked a lot, you know, on Messenger. You know, Joe, how do you do this? How do you do that? You know, and I tell them it. They're like, "Well, I'm so nervous." I said, every time I paint a figure, I'm nervous too, because I'm praying that I can get it to work, because I go into it thinking I know how to do it, but am I going to be able to do it? You know. But anyway, so after I do the red, then I go back in with, I'll take Comart Burnt Umber,
Okay.
and I do the same thing. It's the freckles and all that stuff. But, you know, this time I'll spray around the hairline, you know, and maybe up here in the corners of the nose, you know, along the side part. And then if they have a laugh line, maybe a real light. Now this paint is really thin too, you know, so you gotta realize this. Maybe 1 drop to 3 drops of thinner or reducer, and it's set on like 20. So and I've got it turned where it's real low, and so it's almost a mist, and you just kind of build it up, and then you just keep doing it, and then there's another color. I haven't tried this one yet. A lot. I mean, I've done it a couple of times, but it's Createx transparent, but it's dark brown.
Okay.
And that's just to try to get a variety of different freckling. I saw somebody on Facebook yesterday, and his freckles are more of that orangey brown color. Mm-hmm. And I sent him a message asking him what color he uses, but I haven't heard back from him. You know, he may not. He may respond. He may not.
And that's a question. Do you find that people are open? Like when you just reach out to someone like that, and people reach out to you, do you find that people are pretty open about sharing techniques, and coming from the military and the fine scale modeler side, are people willing to share that stuff usually, or is it like I'm keeping my secrets?
Well, the IPMS people won't tell you a thing. I mean, they won't tell you anything. But the military people, it depends on who it is. Most of them will tell you, but if you are kind of a competitor, because it's not a first, second, third like in IPMS. You know, you win bronze, silver, and gold, so it doesn't matter. But if somebody considers you like a competition, they may not share as much. And then, like I said, I've asked a couple of these 1/6 people, and this was before I even learned how to do this. And one guy literally, he's a big name guy out there, and he told me, he goes, "If I tell you that, you're going to take all my business." I'm like, "Dude, I don't even know how to paint yet. You know, I'm just asking you how to do it, because I only wanted to learn how to do this to do bust for the military side.
Yeah,
you know, a bigger bust, because I just wanted to make my bust look bigger. I mean, more realistic. But then all of a sudden, you know, 3D, and I met my friend Mike, and you know, all this opened up to me with all the different
the 3D
chances.
Printing. Yep.
Because I loved the garage kit stuff, but it's so expensive. My wife, she doesn't want me to be spending that kind of money on. You know.
Well, you don't have to tell her, right?
Oh no, but you know,
I've covered this, Joe. The standard answer is, how much does that cost? And the standard answer is $1. Okay. I don't care how big it is. Okay. I don't care if it's a puppy. Okay. I don't care. How much did that cost? It's $1. Okay. I'm throwing it out there.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm going to Wonderfest. My first time ever, and she's coming with me. It's her birthday, but I don't know if I want her actually walking with me through the
No.
vendor area.
Tell her the vendor's room is no.
Get some of those blinders, the horse blinkers blinders for her.
Yeah, you got to send her shopping something because she's gonna get sticker shock. No
Yeah,
doubt.
that's what.
But I mean, you bring up an interesting point, and it's a fine line we're walking here on the Garage Kit podcast. The 3D printing and how it's taken over because it is cheaper, and I mean, nowadays things are expensive, and every penny counts these days. And if you can print 100 things for $100, you know, like it's better than. And when we love our Garage Kit guys, it's not.
I love. I mean, there's so much stuff I would love. You know, there's so much stuff I want to paint. You know, but financially, you know, I just can't afford it right now. But what I like about
if you just want to paint it, Joe, I'll send you a bunch. Okay.
Well, luckily there's one of the guys. Him and I were just talking, and I'm gonna hopefully get to paint one of his kits. And you know, I'm really excited about it.
That's really cool.
But I've been really blessed too is I've had several designers who like my painting that they've given me access to all their 3D files so that I'm able to you know pick, and then my friend prints them for me, and then I paint them and they use them for their advertisement. You know, I don't ask for anything, but you know.
That's cool. Who's your friend that prints for you in case someone else wants to?
Mike Myers.
Okay.
And he's with Rise 3D Printing.
Okay, send me that. We'll put all that down below for people to link over to that too.
Yeah.
I want to go back to Spock for 1 second, and it kind of leads into the Batman bust that you have here. The 5 o'clock shadow kind of thing. How do you achieve that? What's your favorite way to do that?
My favorite way to do it is with the airbrush. I use find it here.
And it's so subtle. I mean, I'm looking at it.
I love that Batman.
It's there, but you can barely see it.
The Batman's perfect. That is just like perfect.
Comart smoke. Transparent smoke.
Yep. Okay.
Now with Batman was with pastels.
Okay.
Because I didn't know anything about the Comart paints before that. He was with pastels, and you know, there's what I also have too is I went out to Walmart and bought. It's called. Let's see. It's called soft pastels.
Okay.
They're not real expensive, and so the pigments are not real strong. Where like if you bought I've got some really high dollar ones that are they're real strong. Where these are real soft and it's easy to get. And you just scrape them down on a piece of paper and use a brush.
When you use pastels, I'm assuming you seal it. What do you use then to seal it? The same Krylon?
Yeah, for everything, yeah.
And then you use on Spock, you use the smoke through the airbrush, right? That's what okay.
Mm-hmm. And then the other thing too is I'll do that for the 5 o'clock shadows and everywhere, but I also do it a little bit like on the eyebrows, you know, and maybe just a little bit in the corners of the eye, just a little dot, you know, it's like a type of.
Let's go to that. Let's go to eyes. Let's talk about eyes for a second. Because people forget there is a shadow here. There's a shadow even on your eyes sometimes. So any tricks, tips for painting eyes for people out there? Because I know Bill Wilson, who watches all the time, has been trying to get us to do a video, which is coming. But tips for painting eyes.
Number one thing, and it's important with the eyes, and especially like when I did the historical, you got to have a good brush. You know, I mean, I've got a lot of different brushes, and I've got all those real expensive Winsor & Newtons that cost $25-$30 a pop. You know, I've got some from Redgrass Games that are really good, but my go-to brush now are Zem brushes, and I use the 3200 series.
Okay,
they're fabulous. The guy's name is Steve, who owns it. I mean, he's he's been able to take care of me and show me, get me some. We've actually even designed a couple of brushes because he was started, like for example.
Are they synthetic? Are they sable? What kind of brushes are they?
They're all sables.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like this is a nice brush, but it's way here. But the problem is when I paint, I have to paint like a pencil, so I'm down here at the end. So, he's fixed it, made fatter handles and all that stuff. But anyway, the 3200 series, it holds a point really good. And so when I start painting the eyes, this is what I learned from Jacob is, we've got all these expensive paints and stuff, but it's this 99-cent bottle of linen.
Okay, from Folk Art?
Yeah, so take that with Createx medium gray, transparent medium gray, with a little bit of the ultramarine Comart blue, and mix it together so you got a gray, and that's the whites of the eyes.
So
and then
the important thing for people to hear is it's not white.
Don't use white.
Gotcha.
And then before all that, though, you're going to have the pinkish red color, which is if you take the Comart red and mix it with a little bit of the tan flesh or something, just to give you a pink color. It's not a bright red, just a pinkish color. And you lay that down along in the eyes, and then you go back in and paint this white mixture. And above the eye, I use the dark brown, transparent dark brown that's above the eyelid, not up here, but where the eyelashes are.
Right.
So you've got that, and then you've got the red. So then you've got the white in the middle.
I noticed on your. Please, if I get this wrong, Scott's gonna never let me live this down. Ready? On the Lone Ranger. Am I right?
Lone
Continue.
Ranger.
Okay, good. I don't know. He always makes fun of me. So the one thing I noticed on here on the bust specifically, and even on the figure, I'm going to zoom in so I can see. You did something that I think a lot of people miss, and that's eyelashes on the bottom.
Right.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
That's where you get a really fine pointed brush. A good one for that too is the Tamiya Pro Series. They have the real fine. It's the 173.
You can tell he knows what he's talking about because he has all these numbers memorized for the brushes and for the paints. Where I'm just like, yeah, it's this brush, and it's this paint. I love it. But go ahead, keep going. Sorry.
But then I just thin this down, this transparent brown, dark brown, with some reducer, thin it really so it's real fluid. And then it's just a little check mark to paint on the eyelash.
For our viewers, and you've mentioned it a few times, reducer. What does reducer do? And what brand do you use?
I use.
Okay.
From Createx. From Createx Reducer. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Explain
to the viewers what reducer does.
Yeah. What does it do?
So the technical stuff, I don't know exactly, but I think what it does, it just breaks the pigments. I mean, not the pigment, but the paint down, but it doesn't mess the pigments up. So you still got the thing. Where thinner is just going to thin everything else out. This kind of just helps to keep it together, but thinner, if that makes any sense.
Is my experience, I haven't used Createx in a long time. And I think part of the reason maybe they've changed it. Does it reactivate when it gets wet, or does it dry permanent? Or do you have to seal it? That's what I'm trying to remember. I thought it reactivated.
It might reactivate, and the reason I say it might is because when I have the weld that I'm using to thin it, sometimes after I've got some old one in it, and I happen to put some water or thinner or reducer on it, it does kind of move a little bit.
Okay.
But But when I finish any step on the figure, though, I always spray it. So,
okay.
It doesn't, I never think about it that way.
Got any other good questions? Because that was a great one for one.
No, I just, it's, you know, I mean, I've heard of, I've never heard reducer. I've heard extender. I've heard, I want to say there was another one too.
There's
another
thinner,
term.
extender, retarder.
Retarder, yes.
Retarder and extender are kind of similar. Retarder,
So-
it, like, extends the drying time. And extend too.
So yeah, and so when I heard reducer, I wanted to know what reducer.
Yeah, I think
Does it make it almost transparent too, or does it lighten it at all, or
No, it just I mean, because what I'll do too, sometimes I'll either use the reducer and airbrush, or if I'll use the thinner and airbrush, because it'll airbrush, however thin you have it. But it almost feels like a lubricant, if that makes any sense.
Almost like a flow improver. This is getting so technical. Almost like a flow improver.
And kind of a care,
okay. We have to talk about this because we have a contest going on using this piece. And that's the Mark Worthling head.
Right.
What are you doing with it? Are you just going to put it on the Godzilla that it came with, or are you doing something fun with it?
I sent it back to Mark. This was before y'all mentioned the contest.
Hey, we got some more. I'll send you one. I'll send you one.
You know what? Now that I see it painted, that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean,
so that's most realistic.
How does Shanna even oh man, sleep in the same bed?
Really? It's
Did he have, when you guys first met, did he have more hair than this, or was it this pretty much how it's been since?
Pretty much that's all I've ever known him as.
So you missed it, Jason. I'll tell this story quick with Joe here. I think it was the first time we were going to have him on, but he wanted to do a test, right? So he'd been working out in the garage, all right? And
like doing push-ups working out, or working out in the garage?
No, just working out in the garage.
Because I don't think he's doing push-ups.
Casting and stuff. Yeah. And his hair was such a mess. It wasn't even funny. And I said, please tell me you're not going to come on later like that. Okay. So I got to see him like that. And then there was the night we were on Discord, and Hobby Mike and I were on late, and he had signed off hours ago. But I guess if you don't leave the Discord chat, you stay signed in. So when his phone charged enough, all of a sudden he's back on and he hears us. And we wake Shanna up, and all of a sudden Hobby Mike and I see him walking into the bathroom, hair all messed up, nose strip on, his eye shade thing up on his head. And we're trying to talk to him.
Wait, Mark wears an eye shade?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so and all you can see is I'm trying to turn it off. It was great. Mike and I were dying.
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the stuff nightmares are made out of there, Joe.
You know what? Maybe that's what someone should do with the head. Is put the eye mask on, the nose strip, messed up hair. Make it Sleeping Mark. That'd be great.
Oh my god!
All right, sorry, totally sidetracked.
Sorry, but that's the ugliest thing I ever seen.
Oh, that's
All
so
right,
well done.
Anyway.
And same thing with the 11. Same paints, same everything. Cool.
Okay, so I gotta say. And again, this is just me, Mr. Practicing. Okay. The dry brush work, I'm assuming it's dry brush or washing, then washing. The work on the hair is amazing. It looks like real hair.
Oh, thank you.
Really, doesn't it, Jason?
Yeah, it's good.
So, and what was that then? Was that just washes or what?
That just washes. And actually, I used, I started with the transparent brown and just gradually.
So I'm gonna go similar to Scott's question from before. Another color that's hard to shade and make look right is white. What do you like to shade white with?
Well, just like I said, I never paint white.
Okay.
So I start with like deck tan or like a grayish color. So that because like I said, this garage stuff is all new to me, so I'm trying to just make what I did before to. So I paint it more of a deck tan or a stone gray, and
Hmm.
then I gradually add in some off white, and then it'll be pure off white for my highlights. Or sometimes if you want, I would paint if I've got a warm base color, I'll put a cooler highlight, which would be ivory, or ivory might be the warmer one. I can't
Yeah.
remember, but it's opposite of. So if I have a darker, then I just use the ivory or off white.
And it's so funny because I think you and I are going in opposite directions. I've spent the last, I don't know how long, trying to make things look as real as possible. And now I'm going back to, if I look at this Thor that you sent us in the guy with the beard, I don't, is it a wizard or what is that? It's got the purple cape,
Oh, okay.
red
Yeah,
beard.
he big orange beard with
Yeah.
purple and all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it was from a company called Robot Miniatures, and he's supposedly like a I guess back when the Hobbits and that kind of stuff. So he was, but the beard actually started off like a burnt umber.
And this is what I was going to say. Like, I'm trying to do more of this where it is more painterly and more stylized in a way to get, because that beard, I love his beard. What you did with this, like, it just pops. And then Thor's arm, where he's got the hammer up like this, and how you have the shading on his inner tricep into his armpit and on his bicep is just sublime. And the way that blue from his leg fades into black going into his
I
boot,
really like that. I noticed too.
That's the kind of stuff. Like, I don't want it to look real anymore. I'm trying to go more towards this, where you're going back. Like, I love that.
And
like,
the shading,
that you can do both. It's just
the
beautiful.
shading in the cape too.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
I mean, the Thor is beautiful.
Well, thank you. Well, like Thor, he's a 70 millimeter, so he's probably 3 or 4 inches. But if you look at the shadows of Thor's legs, that was my base coat.
Yeah, because I base everything in black. I usually go, like you said, from
that's actually that's a dark blue.
Dark blue, okay.
There's no black, and then I gradually added more blue.
And well, when you prime your miniatures, what color do you usually prime?
This is one that I used to. I was at one point. I used to have to do everything with Vallejo. But Vallejo rubbed off on me every time I tried to use it.
It does.
So,
maybe I'll edit this out. It totally does rub off. I noticed that. It totally does. Their primer does.
The best primer ever to use for anything, you have to use an airbrush. But the best primer for anything is Tamiya Sky Gray XF19. It's just regular sky gray paint.
Okay.
I use that for everything.
For everything? Okay.
Plastic, resin, 3D. I just spray it. And it bites into the stuff and it will never rub off. And
dude, we got this is the most hobby tip filled episode I think we've ever done.
Well, and I'm looking at this Queen Elizabeth.
Dude, I was gonna go there. Go ahead.
And the feather looks like a real feather. I'm looking at it going, that looks like a real feather. Okay. It's like, and it almost looks like a photograph of her, especially from the neck up. Yeah, practice more, Joe. Yeah, that sucks, Joe. Practice more. Yeah,
that was an old one. That was done all with a brush.
Just
the other one. So the Tuskegee Airmen. Let's talk about darker skin tones for a second. When you're doing, let's say, African American or African English, wherever they're from, but the Tuskegee Airmen. What's your like the difference between painting someone with darker skin than lighter skin? Is there a base color you use for there that you've tried yet on a larger scale? Have you tried to do anything that's not a miniature?
Well, I haven't done a garage size. I don't know what the genre for this is called, so I'm always just saying the garage size, But I've done one head. I did Muhammad Ali. It was about big, and it was more of it was just winging it. So I had it kind of like a yellow ochreish color.
Uh-huh.
And then I started just, this is an old color. They don't make it anymore, but it's Aztec opaque brown, where this color, I mean the Comart burnt umber is pretty close to that
Okay.
color. So what I did with it is I just kind of just misted it, on the bigger thing, and then went
Starting
back
with that gray primer, that same gray. Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah, gray is everything, and then I paint everywhere over top. But now, like the Tuskegee Airman, I used I want to say might have been.
If you bust out a number, I'm gonna freak out.
I in my head it's in my book. I did paint.
Okay, cool. We'll leave it there. People buy the book. Find out.
I'm looking at the guy with the rifle.
I know. I was just gonna say that one too.
And well, you're too slow. And again, I'm like,
I just love that piece. Like that is such a cool. Like this is why. This is the difference between, I think, sometimes garage kits and the more miniature stuff. You don't see things like this in garage kit world, where the emotion is there more than anything else. You get the figure them, like you don't get the simple just I'm firing those, like I have to fire this or I'm gonna die kind of look. And you don't get a lot of that you get in some of the military stuff. I wish everything got mixed up a little more, but man, that is cool.
Well, I'm trying now, like we were talking 3D, because the Lone Ranger, I had it 3D designed, and so I'm starting to do a bunch of my childhood heroes and stuff that I like. And I'll give y'all a heads up. Do you remember the Planet of the Apes models from Adar?
Yes.
The Cornelius, how it's really cool, the box art. And then when you opened it up, you saw what it was.
That was a lot of the Aurora stuff too back then.
Yeah, well, I mean, to this day, I've always been so upset, because I wanted that box. Well, it's coming in 3D.
Okay. So my next question then is this just for you?
No, sir.
Or are you going to put it out there? Okay.
Well, but it's like, I get it done. My friend Mike, he takes care of that and sells limited editions of them. So.
Okay. I think I saw someone asking, is the Lone Ranger available, or is that a one-off kind of thing too?
No, there's a few of those left. I think there was on the big guy, I think there's 3 left of him.
Okay.
And then, like maybe 10 and 120 millimeter.
Okay.
And then there's a few bust. There's a 300 millimeter. I didn't get a chance to paint it yet because he didn't have it done.
Okay.
So I did a smaller version. I did the 4-inch one.
There's so much I want to ask.
Who's the guy with the red cape, the black outfit?
That's Doc Saturn.
Okay.
A guy named Don Bond. B-O.
I know the name Don. I know Don's name. Yeah, I know Don.
Yeah, he's the creator of that.
Okay.
And I did that for him.
That's beautiful too.
That was the last one I did before I had my heart attack.
Man, that could have been a collector's item.
No, I don't think we didn't even talk about that on the show. We were talking before. You want to tell everybody just you had a heart attack recently? Hey. Yeah. We're glad you're here.
Yeah. I took a massive heart attack in August, 100% blockage of the Widowmaker with an aneurysm. I tried to make sure I did it right,
And you've been practicing here ever since.
Yeah. And ever since yesterday I've lost 20 pounds, sworn off red meat and pork and processed food, and going to the gym every day, 45 minutes, trying to be around for a little longer so I can paint more.
So,
wow. I
got another
feel
question.
Horrible about myself.
Whatever. Go eat another Chick-fil-A.
I did. I had a chicken sandwich.
Like I should talk
today. Yeah.
Like I should talk. I use so much salt.
Yeah.
I use so much salt, Joe. It's amazing.
Hold on.
And I know you
Joe,
do
hold on, Scott. Wait, time out. Joe, when you're at Wonderfest this year, make it a point to go to dinner with Scott or go eat with him and watch him how he eats a burger. Not a cheeseburger. It's a burger.
I don't eat cheeseburger. Cheese is bad for you. So I'm looking at the Darth Maul, and I don't know what scale that was, but
He's like 4 inches tall.
okay. So, on stuff like this, obviously you probably don't have to, but when the case arrive for you, where you have to mask something, where you paint some, or do you just paint,
I just paint, but I did have to mask, trying to remember what I've done recently. Oh, I had a mask, I don't think I sent you. Did I send a picture of a Halo? I don't remember.
No. Oh, cool. Okay.
So, but I masked everything and painted the green, and then I masked everything to paint black, everything to paint to gray, and then painted.
What did you use to mask off with? What do you?
Well, I've got pictures on my Facebook page. You have to take a look at it because it's so funny. There's a stuff called I think I have it right here. Here it is. It's camouflage plastic putty or plastic putty. It's almost like the silly putty. And so I mask it all off and all, but it has a tendency to am I messed up again?
Oh no, you're good.
It has a tendency to like melt. It looks so after a day, so it was just like melted all the way down. It didn't mess anything up, but it's just like
just
it's
goops
just
down.
Yeah. Oh, and then I did mask off the face when I did Batman and I did the Daredevil.
Wow.
Daredevil I gave to Paul Gill.
And we want to thank Paul Gill because Paul put us in touch together to get this together. So I'm so happy he did. We're almost out of time. I have a request though. So this is going to be your first time at Wonderfest. I want to have you back later in the summer, maybe. Okay. I want you to, and I'm going to give you a homework assignment.
Yeah, once you've practiced enough.
Yeah. Okay. No, but I want you to go to Wonderfest and I want you to seriously look at the contest. Okay. And just kind of pick out maybe one or two things that the most common mistake you might have seen, and not pick out an individual model and like pick on that person, but just
right.
2 or 3 ideas that people might be able to do to improve their work. And we'll just kind of have like a conversation about, because we've talked about it a little bit before about the contest and like things. We had George Salidas on, who runs the contest, of things that people can do to make their work better for the contest. But for someone who's, worked for Fine Scale Modeler, does amazing work here, I'd love to have that kind of conversation of just like the top 3 things that people might be able to do better when you look at their work in the contest. So if you're willing to do that, I think that would be a pretty cool episode.
Oh, I'll be glad. I mean, I'm kind of nervous because I've never been, and I don't know how my style will transfer over to.
You never know. Like it's weird how it works for some people.
Well, and they have a miniature category and they have regular categories, so it's. I think from what I'm seeing here, I think your practice work will fit right in. Yeah,
it will.
The only thing really that's terrible, and it's not the paint, is that Worthling head. I can't look away.
It's horrifying. So last plugs you got to get in. Just anybody, the book, best place to find it. Shoot away.
Well, my local hobby shop sells the book. I mean, I feel kind of honored because I made it because Walmart sells it.
That awesome. That's like the first, and I'm going to interrupt for one. That's like the first time I went into Barnes and Noble and saw AFM with my. I did the cover of the one, and I was like, what the fuck? It was the weirdest feeling. But talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, because Barnes and Noble, Books A Million, because you write it and you're kind of like, man, I wonder if it's. So you Google yourself, it's like this place, this place, this place. But I was going to say, my local hobby shop sells it, and what I've been doing for them is anybody who orders from them, I'll sign them and I'll personalize it to whatever if you want.
Very cool.
You
What's
know,
the hobby shop? And we'll put that information down below too.
I'll send you the link, but it's Mark Twain Hobby Shop in
Okay.
St. Charles, Missouri.
Excellent. We'll put that link up instead of Amazon because I'd much rather have them get it than.
Yeah, I
than
mean,
Amazon.
I don't get anything for it, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
what's been really
Anytime
kinda
we can
cool-
help out a hobby store, we're doing that. So
Yeah, they've sold 80, so I mean, I'm happy, you know, because my thing is I don't care who buys it or who sells it, just as long as somebody buys it, you know.
yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
And your friend's 3D printing business?
It's Rise 3D Printing,
Okay.
Mike, and then I've got some other buddies, you know, Kenny Conklin, he has a YouTube video, and then Oggie. They're all into science fiction, and then Mark Fraley, he made that. Did I send you the poster picture of like the Lone Ranger?
No, I don't think so.
I'll have to send you one. He
Okay.
made some really poster inserts, which are really cool.
Okay, cool.
Omar's he's a big Superman guy, and he's a big influence as well. As long as Omar, Mike, Kenny, Mark, and Oggie. Those are our crew on the
Doing
messenger.
a shout out. It's like Arsenio. Who was they used to do our shout out? Was that Arsenio Hall? Something like
Hall,
that?
I think.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Joe, it's been so great having you on. This has been a great. I think a lot of people are going to get a lot of good stuff out of this episode, and I want to thank you. I can't wait to have you back.
Oh no.
Great.
Well,
Joe, get on YouTube. Do some how-tos, man. Get on YouTube.
Yeah.
Film yourself.
well, I was gonna make some videos, but I don't have any idea on how to edit it or
Oh, neither does Jason. Don't worry about it. Okay.
Trust me, you're going to spend your life editing. Is what ends up happening.
But no, I did tell you, I will send you that PDF.
Oh yeah, tell everybody real quick what you're going to send me.
I did a Captain Kirk bust, and for my friends online and Messenger, I did a step-by-step on painting the freckling, everything. And my friend Mark, he made a PDF of it, and it has every picture. And then it'll have a caption with the paint and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like my book that I wrote. Pretty much every picture in the book has a caption and a paintbrush showing. There's a lot of books that you'll get, and like, I did this, this, and this, and then you got the finished picture.
Yeah.
Nope. But in mine, I wanted it for people like when I first started. I wanted to see where you put the paintbrush. I wanted to see how you blend it. So every picture has either a pointer or the actual brush being used.
Yeah, if you share that with us, we can probably share it on
Yeah,
our
that's what I was
drive
gonna.
too.
Yeah,
right?
we'll put it up on the drive. There'll be a link down below for that
then
PDF, and
people can
that's
do
pretty
it.
cool. Thanks for sharing that with us. That's
And how you know what? How amazing we bring up Captain Kirk today. William Shatner's 92nd birthday today.
Oh, that's awesome.
No, and Joe, I look forward to meeting you at Wonderfest.
Yeah.
Yes, me too.
It's you won't find me at the table because Jason won't let me behind the table. But we'll be there, and Jason will be bitching that I'm not behind the table. But when I'm there, he won't leave, and so I just leave. But I'm all over the place.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I'm all over the place spreading hobby goodness.
That's
You're
great.
spreading something, that's for sure. All right, Joe. Hang on. Thanks for joining us. Don't hang up yet. Say goodbye.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Thanks.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Scott.
Wow, that was great.
That was
really cool
great.
stuff. We're gonna have him back for sure as he continues down this garage kit journey and some 3D printing stuff. And I think he'll be a great recurring guest to talk shop because he knows his stuff. Anybody that can call out numbers on paint bottles and like that's how he remembers it, and not that dark brown color.
Well, he's just practicing. You know, he's
just practicing.
I just want to.
So thank you, everyone.
I almost opened up this brand new Z series X-Acto knife and cut my wrist while he was talking.
Just make sure you go vertical, not horizontal.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Everyone, please hit up the link down below to buy his book if you're interested. Support a hobby shop. If you need to get it on Amazon, fine, but you can get it from a hobby store, which is what we want to see. So, and like you said, he'll autograph it, sign it, and good stuff. So happy he came on. Emails, voicemails, and corrections. Scott, do we have a correction this episode? No, we did everything right. I know we did.
Sure, I made somebody mad, but no,
I'm not correcting shit. That's like, we're not doing it.
Well, we had a voicemail.
Yeah, we did have a voicemail, and then there was I had to let CG know that there was a copyright issue, perhaps because of the samples, the movie that was
the
playing.
audio wasn't good, and I'm not quite sure what he was trying to say there. But something about being nice, and yeah, good luck with that. We're not going to be nice. So,
well,
it's
Scott's not going to be nice. And again,
you're
explain.
Nice.
I'm always nice. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I'm the angel. Scott.
Yeah.
If Scott, I'll speak. Can I speak for you?
Please.
If Scott's not busting your balls, and this goes to anybody, it means he doesn't like you. If he's messing with you, he likes you. So when he calls me a moron 7 times an episode, that means he loves me. That's what he's actually saying. Is I love you, Jason. Every time he says that.
If I don't do it 7 times, I haven't met my quota. And we'll have to fill them in.
So the voicemail number, we haven't pushed any buttons this episode. Uh-oh. Voicemail, if you do want to leave a voicemail, is 708-816-4299. We haven't been getting a lot of those, but that's okay. 708-816-4299. And if you want to email the show, it is modelclubtv@gmail.com. And please send those emails along. And we have our first 2 emails that go along with the new segment, mini segment, inside emails called Grail Mails. You don't look excited, Scott.
I'm interested.
Okay, here we go.
Just so everyone knows, I don't get to see any of this till right now. Okay? Because Mr. Control Issues keeps it all from me. So,
because I like your spontaneous reaction.
Yeah, everybody loves my spontaneous reactions, apparently.
Not everybody.
Most people.
Smart people. First email in the Grail Mail section is from Mike. Oh, I'm going to slaughter this last name. Let's take a guess. Zezech. Zezich? Zezich? Oh, boy. All right. Mike.
Maybe it's something you should have looked into before you went on the air.
No, because this is comedy.
Sounds like you're stuttering. You know.
Mike says, great shows. I really enjoy the content. I have not been wearing my readers and it's starting to catch up with me. Mike says, great shows. I really enjoy the content. I appreciate what you guys have been doing to keep this hobby accessible and alive. Someone cares. Hopefully we keep gaining new hobbyists. I am looking forward to my second Wonderfest. The first one in 1997. Holy crap. It hasn't been back since 97. That's a long...
Wow. A lot's changed.
Yeah, a lot has changed. You're going to be surprised. The hotel's very different. I'm sure it's way... Here's the next sentence. I'm sure it will be way different. I will stop by and say hello. Make sure you do. I am looking for a kit from Kit Kong's Model Mansion. The Bride Re-Engaged, sculpted by Sean Buford. I don't care about the box condition or whether the kit was started, but as long as it's complete and delicate parts unbroken, I am not that good at party work, I will consider it. I also have some kits I can let go because I am not good enough to do them justice, and I hate to think of my wife giving them away when I die.
Wow.
And then he writes LOL. I didn't even see that. Monsters in Motion, Babylon Beauty, Monique Gabriel. Still in Shrink Wrap. Lisa the Rock and Roll Vampire by Jim Fox, single figure, not Fatal Kiss, in original plain box packaging, and was so common in 97. And newer kits from Mobius, The Mummy, Elvira, Deluxe Dracula. I also have the resin Conan the Barbarian kit from Mobius, not Death of Bellet, I believe. I don't know. This kit is... I said it right the first time. This kit is not sealed, has not been started. There's also Nestor the Wonder Fester from 97. If anyone's looking for a Nestor, in a polybag and card header signed by Chris Wayless, about 3 inches tall, 1-piece casting. I have other kits, but they are not necessarily Grail kits. by any means, but I wanted to see how this would work out. Whether a web page listed somewhere or just word of mouth, I appreciate the service. Thanks again for all you do, and I look forward to speaking to you in June. Mike Zippy3916 on YouTube. So if you're interested in any of those kits or can help him out on the Bride Reengaged, leave a comment down in the video below, and hopefully we can work something out for somebody.
Doing the old Letterman thing.
I'm trying to do
we
a
need
Letterman.
The glass effect.
We need a glass effect.
Yeah. Or something falling down or just
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna edit it in. We're gonna do that now. That's a new thing. We're copying other people's comedy because
yeah, why not?
We have a second Grail Mail kit email. This is from god damn it. BEAI is the last name. How do you what's that? BI?
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 From Steven. Hello, reaching out to fellow garage kit builders. After 30 years of building, I'm offering a large stock of unbuilt kits in my inventory for sale, including new inbox kits from Screamin', Billiken, Janus, and among many others. Also available are vintage collectibles, copies of famous Monsters of Filmland, Fangoria, and dozens of other monster magazines, comics, action figures, original movie posters, etc. And I have some pictures that I'm going to put up here while I'm reading that he sent in. He leaves his phone number. And I hesitated to put this on the show until I read a reply where he said, go ahead and leave it. So, there's a Pierce Karloff here. If someone's looking for a Pierce Karloff, a Billiken Frankenstein kit, a Screamin' Freddy Krueger, he's got a bunch of other stuff. So if you're looking for any older kits or, and you're having trouble,
awesome.
you never know. He might have it in his collection. So if you're looking for something
there with David Fisher's Gothic base, and
so I'm going to leave. There's another email with some more pictures responded below, but I am going to put his phone number here. Can we please, on the Model Club honor system, let's not prank call.
Serious inquiries only.
Serious, yes, good. Please do not prank him. So this is Steven. He's in Pueblo, Colorado. Maybe I shouldn't say that just in case. So this is Steven. 719-557-1060. If you're looking for any of the older kits that he has, or, you're taking a shot that he might have it, 719-557-1060. Reach out to Steven. You never know what you might get. He looks like a nice guy in this picture. So, ready? Oh, that was terrible. Wait.
Would have been cool if it came back and poked.
I do this at work. Like, they always get mad at me. They're like, because I throw paper at them. Like,
all right. How much longer is this going to go on?
Okay. From Chuck Homoka. Hey guys, been enjoying the great shows you have been doing. He's not watching this, that's for sure. I wanted to let everyone know that there is a modeling publication that really has its finger on what's happening in the hobby. The name is Phoenix Scale Modeling International. Remember to put the Phoenix in your search or you will not find it. It is a British modeling magazine, and what makes it so special is that their figure section, they are highlighting 3D full figure buildups. Not only that, but the authors talk about where the design comes from, what 3D printer they are using, and what resin they use. To me, this is a major change in how the figure kit community is being viewed. The only other place that talks about this change is Model Club TV. This will get the news out there to those who are not really aware of the changes that are happening in our hobby. So for sure, check this out. Phoenix Scale Modeling Magazine. I'll find a link and I'll put it down below. Thanks, Chuck, again for sending it. And I do want to send out condolences to Chuck. I think he lost his cat this week. So sorry, man. Scott knows how tough that is. And I lost a hedgehog recently. So I don't.
Yep. Jason came over and kicked my puppy, just so everyone knows.
No, I didn't. Did I kick it?
No. She's cute as hell, though, isn't he?
She licked me. She did. Next time I'm bringing peanut butter, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, just keep your pants on.
This email is from Peter Fortunato. Hey, gents. Resin Crypt, and this you got to help me out, and I think we talked about this before. Hey gents, Resin Crypt produced many outstanding model pieces. With the loss of Vince, the company as well as production has since been on hiatus. Have you guys heard of any rumblings as to possible future startup? I vaguely remember Nick D'Angelo becoming involved, but that was years ago. Any news would be welcome, as was Janice. Resin Crypt was a fine kit producer. Please keep up the fine shows on the Tube of You. Would like to see one of Terry and Dave again. Peter, Ronald, Fortunato. Any news on Resin
Jeremy
Crypt?
Mons, M-O-N-Z, Jeremy Mons. If you need to check Jason and I on Facebook, I know I'm friends with him, Jeremy Mons. I think he has all Vince Resin Crypt stuff. He'd be the one to ask. So,
all right. Because you know what, I talked about it before for the Black Sunday, and then I saw the Witchfinder General someone had painted recently.
Yeah,
and I was like, man, I want that too. Yeah. Like, I'd love another. Like, so cool.
Jeremy Mons, M-O-N-Z.
Jeremy Mons. And then the last thing there about Terry and Dave. I have reached out to Terry the last 5 episodes. He's got a lot going on with getting the class ready. We're going to try and have him on again. I'm going to ask every episode to try and get him to come back on. Dave probably is. I know he's working on some other stuff, but Terry for sure is the next guest in the lineup. He just keeps passing. Terry's got other stuff going on.
One step away from the home, just so everyone knows.
That's kind of true.
He thought he was invincible like the rest of us.
And age caught up with him. So that's the show, everybody.
Going into the home.
We don't have a big user gallery this episode. So I think we had a lot last time. This time only a couple emails came in. So it'll be shorter. We'll see you episode 68. Have a great time, everybody, wherever you're at, wherever you're doing. We love everybody. And say goodbye, Scott.
Goodbye, Scott.